Hi, my name is George Livingston with Karl Storz Endoscopy. Today we're going to be going over some new equipment available to you in the emergency department. Specifically, the digital intubation scopes. You have two sizes available, a 3mm and a 4mm. One very important thing to remember is the size tubes that will accommodate the scope. The 4mm, you can use a 4.5 endotracheal tube. The 3mm, you can use a 3 ET tube. However, if you do choose to use that, remember, you very likely will have to remove the adapter from the top of the tube, just like here, but it will accommodate a 3. Okay, so these scopes are housed in the trauma room 1, and they will be sterilized in a metal container. Once you open that container, you will find the scope in the container just like this right here. There should be a nice bend to develop no memory in the scope itself. The first thing you will do when you're ready to use the scope is you will detach the pressure compensation valve simply by turning it a quarter turn. It will pop off and you're ready to move to the next process. I want to direct your attention to the C-hub. You know this piece of equipment, your video laryngoscope with the CMAC blades is currently plugged in. The first thing you will have to do, however, in order to use this, is you will have to disconnect the video laryngoscope connection. You do that by grabbing the gray piece and simply pulling out. Please do not pull from the cord or the black piece right here. Grab the gray part and it comes right out. Once you do that, you will take the connection pin from the digital scope, line up the arrows on the C-hub, and it will pop right in. Okay, now we're ready to move on to your next step in assembly. This is your suction port. All right, this is a single-use piece that is individually packaged. This is your Luer lock valve cover, also single-use and individually packaged. These are only used in the 4mm scope. The 3mm has no internal lumen, therefore there's no need for a suction or a Luer lock valve cover. Notice these ears, 3 different ears on the side of the suction port. You line those ears up in the suction port channel, quarter turn, pops right in. Luer lock valve simply goes on, quarter turn, pops right in. Okay, that is threaded. All right, now we're ready to use the scope. Your light, since it is plugged in the C-hub, you should have light and a video image on the screen. Preload your endotracheal tube on the scope itself. Okay, so now once you do your intubation, once you are completed with the procedure and find your proper placement, advance the tube and retract the scope. Once your patient is stabilized and you're ready to reprocess your flexible scope, there's a couple steps we want to go over first. Place the scope on an even surface and make sure you disconnect the scope from the C-hub first. Don't forget to reconnect the video laryngoscope so the next case will be ready to go with video laryngoscopy. The first thing you want to do before you disconnect from suction is find sterile water or pre-packed enzymatic cleaner packet and suction all of the solution through the internal channel. This is important to remove any leftover bioburden or contaminants that have been left behind. Okay, once you have done that, you then want to take your pre-packaged sponge and do 1 to 2 swipes down the external shaft of the scope itself. Now you have pre-cleansed your scope. The final step that you want to do is set it back in the metal container, just like you found it, with a nice memory. Please make sure the shaft of the scope is not hanging outside of the metal tray. That can damage the scope and cause major damage. Make sure the shaft of the scope is securely in this tray. Once you do that, simply remove the suction port, remove the Luer lock valve cover, discard these as they are single use. Put the connection cord in the tray itself along with the pressure compensation cap and put the lid back on top. Now you're ready to send this to SPD for its sterilization process. Thank you. If you have any questions, please respond by email.